Mark.
Hey, Winnie, how are you?
I'm good. For those of you that didn't get to see, Mark was raising the energy. I suppose it's better than raising hell.
Well, yeah, given the choice.
Now, tell me about raising the energy. What
Oh,
does that accomplish?
okay. It's actually, well, from the witch's paradigm, raising energy is part of a really good ritual. That you do all of this setup, and you cast circle and you pull quarters and you invoke deity. That's a lot of work. And then before you do your spell or you're working, you want to raise the energy back up again. And there are many ways to do that. You can do it through drumming and dancing and prayer and toning and all these things. But what I was doing before we started taping and before we commence, and really before I teach a class, before I do a reading, before I do a healing, is to check in with where am I in my own energy level, and I try and scale it from 1 to 10, 1 being nothing. You have come to the well once too often. My mom says that a lot. I love that. You've come to the well once too often. And 10 being, just bursting. If I'm at a 5, which is great for personal, just getting through, that's great, but I don't really want to teach from that place, so I want to get myself up to at least a 7, an 8, or a 9. And what I use is a technique of working with plants. Trees in particular are my favorite, that you can research in the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. It has to do with seeing the energy field of the tree and then connecting with it through breath and through intention. And it's not parasitic where you drain the tree. It's you're giving and receiving and giving and receiving. And what's so cool about that is there is then more energy for both somehow.
So are you releasing negative energy to the tree for it to feed on? Or just helping it build its own energy?
It's really, in my thought process, I start with praise and appreciation. Seeing its beauty, which actually puts me into the vibrational continuum of its energy field, where I can see it with my eyes open. And you know how I am about seeing things with my eyes open. It's not my favorite thing to do, but this is very, very peaceful. Then from there I get into a breath work where I'm exhaling carbon dioxide, obviously, and inhaling energy, and the tree is doing the opposite. It's inhaling carbon dioxide and exhaling oxygen, and that symbiosis that's there, I then add gratitude to that. It's like, thank you for helping me breathe. Thank you for being there. Thank you for keeping us alive. And that, from appreciation to gratitude, ups your energy. Then, within usually seconds, if not minutes, I can bring it up into a place of genuine love and affection for the tree. Now, the truth is, you can do that with people too. But if you're not plugged, well, it's not always so easy. And you don't have to tell them you're doing it because you're always doing it anyway. It's just usually it's parasitic or a competition for energy.
Right.
Where it's like a tug of war, and this limited amount of energy gets kind of back and forth, and it eventually drains both people. The idea being that if you are plugged into your source, God, goddess, whatever you want to call that, universe, universal life force, energy, Reiki, if you're really plugged in, you won't drain, but then you can give, and then of course what you release returns to you. And so you build energy. And I find when I do that, if someone asks a question, the desire they have in that question, because every question has a desire attached to it, will then pull through an answer from me because I'm plugged in and wide open. As well as, boy, do synchronicities happen a lot more when my energy's high, or at least I notice them more. Right. And of course, if I do that before a reading, which is really something that I do as a spiritual practice before I read people. Maybe not in, when you're reading person after person, like a party or a event like that. I don't really have the time to do that, but beforehand I have to make sure I'm plugged in as much as possible. So yeah, that's what I consider building energy.
Sounds very Eastern, the sort of give and take of energy and the breath.
But it's a higher, I don't want to say higher quality energy, but to me it definitely feels better than for criticism. Tree, how come you're thinner than I am, tree? Envy and jealousy with trees.
Sounds like your issue, not the tree's issue.
Well, not so much today.